Good morning, everybody. I am back on Friday. I said, see you tomorrow, and it sounds like I meant see you Monday. So excited to be back with everybody, which is, its own ironic statement when one just speaks into the ether. But we made a lot of progress over the weekend, and I'm excited to review some of it, all of it, and make the next steps forward. I've got a little bit of a cold today, so it might be a little bit challenging to talk. So we'll see how long I go today, but we'll go ahead and do our anchor because, again, the intention of this live stream is to put into practice Rick Rubin's The Way of Code and vibe code our way into building a number of different products and services and tools and apps. It's really exciting to be collaborating with intelligent machines on building software cheaper and more efficiently than ever before. Fast fashion is what Sam Altman calls it. So if I have to sneeze or blow my nose, I'm going to hopefully get to the mic and mute myself fast enough. But the goal, again, I'm Ryan. I work for a company named Cloud Elephants. We do technology consulting and fractional CTO services. More and more people need help getting their ideas online, and so these incredible AI tools help people get more done faster and without the need for a large IT or technology team / engineering team. But there's still a need for expertise and some guidance. The intention of this live stream is to learn in public how to use these tools and show people what we will do for them as services. So we're going to continue our work on the Lovely or Just Lovely Events website, which is a startup events company in Mesa, Arizona. Really excited about the design. And want to try to align our creative ambitions with the universe as inspired by Rick Rubin's The Way of Code and the Tao Te Ching. So we're going to start with our anchoring place like we have in the other two episodes, which is The Way of Code, and then we'll read the corresponding Tao Te Ching verse. Verse 3, if you praise the programmer, others become resentful. If you cling to possessions, others are tempted to steal. If you awaken envy, others suffer turmoil of heart. The vibe coder leads by emptying the mind of expectation and filling up the soul, by releasing ambition and embracing the unknown. Free from intellect, free from abstraction, the vibe coder leads all things back to natural self-sufficiency. Do by not doing, and there is nothing that cannot be done. And from the Tao. 3. Not exalting the gifted prevents quarreling. Not collecting treasures prevents stealing. Not seeing desirable things prevents confusion of the heart. The wise therefore rule by emptying hearts and stuffing bellies, by weakening ambitions and strengthening bones. If people lack knowledge and desire, then it is best not to interfere. If nothing is done, then all will be well. In a way, I like The Way of Code's version slightly better. The second sonnet, the second phrase. So the first part is totally totally relevant to anybody who's worked in an engineering organization one bit of irony is pretty much every engineering team I've ever been on has someone who thinks or acts like they're some sort of rock star, some unrecognized Da Vinci, and the judgment of what code is good and what code is bad is pretty hilarious because yeah, there's plenty of resentment among the creative types in the engineering world. In particular, when they start to have arguments about which library, framework, or approach to solving the problem is right. As one says, there's lots of ways to skin a cat, and it just so happens that the right way is always the way of the author. If you cling to possessions others are tempted to steal, makes me think of the internet generally and what's happened with Napster and copyright. All of these things are, you know, complicated and have a variety of interests, and people are rightly protective of their IP. But when you have AI and machines now that are able to contemplate or at least integrate all ideas in their mind at the same time, well then, what is IP? It's kind of wild. So let's go ahead and jump to our code where we were when we left off and review some of the progress that we made over the weekend. And specifically, really used a lot of codecs in this case, which I thought was much more effective this time than other times. One moment. All right, I'm back. So we really cleaned up the overall layout of the app. I think, as you can see, the colors are much more aligned, the fonts are much more aligned. There's a couple places where we need to make some changes, but we added as well an admin section that will enable us to use a tool called TinaCMS, which is an open source, relatively lightweight CMS for making changes to the content. My goal is, once this is live, McKenna and Melinda will be able to manage the content of the site on their own based on their own preferences. So we're going to go about trying to configure this today, but we worked with Codex over the weekend to get a significant number of pull requests closed that set this up. So largely every page should be configurable in the CMS by an admin. That's loading up now, and it looks like I have an error. So there's an opportunity to kind of work this through. But we've updated the fonts. We ended up landing on a logo that that McKenna and Melinda agreed on. We've got, oh man, it's very slow. We might need to kill the server and restart it. All right. So I'll do my best to hide the I'll do my best to hide any configuration codes that I'll be needing to set up. So every once in a while I might pull my IDE to another window and you'll see my head turn a different direction. All right, so that looks like it's starting back up. And I can take you through a couple of the changes that we made. We'll kick off a new chat. Where we left off at the end of last week is we had created a relatively comprehensive set of updates as documentation using GPT-5's deep research feature. And we ended up completing all these tasks. So, looks like my live chat is not working today. Let's see if I can get that fixed really quick. Doesn't look like I'm gonna know how to. And my computer's running slow again. So we'll just keep it simple today. If there are any comments or chat questions, I'll respond to them tomorrow in tomorrow's live stream, as long as I don't feel so awful that I can't talk. So let's just jump through some of the changes that were made. We have a blog, but we'll jump into, let's start with the home page, which is right here. We should see a bunch of, here we go, home about title. So if you look, this home page comes from a function that says get home. Get home is in our library, and it requests the home content. So this is dynamically populated. Let's see where home content, or sorry, this is the type here. In the content directory, below here, you'll see all of our various pages are configured so that they can be managed leveraging TinaCMS. And that will make it so that McKenna or Melinda can make changes without us needing to deploy any code. We also added a nice little multi-step form, which might have been in place last week. Here you got some sort of playful images as placeholders that are going to be here, but we can go ahead and walk through the form, and we can say we want this to be a backyard party in Gilbert, Arizona, and it can be at 123 East Main Street, Gilbert, Arizona, and we're going to have this be $1,500 is our budget. We'll go and say I really want the Star Wars for my 8-year-old to have wonderful, have custom center pieces and a matching balloon garland and birthday banner. And my name is Jane Doe from jane@example.com, 480-123-4567. And then I'd send the request, and it would then, on success, redirect me to this thank you page. And this is something we'll wrap up together today, that will have a custom animation, as long as it doesn't have an error. There's a custom animation on this page that we worked with GPT-5 on, and it creates and it has this really cute little animation of balloons that rise up and then pop, and shows confetti and flowers that match the logo that we landed on. So I'm really excited with how the site's coming along. We have a contact page. This is where we're going to embed our Go High Level marketing appointment scheduler. So this is, if you have a free, we're going to set aside a couple hours a week where McKenna and or Melinda can handle new customers who come in. They'll be able to schedule their own appointment so that they can meet and talk about what they need exactly, or they can submit a request, or again, just submit a booking form. We have our about page that should be driven by content as well. And if it's not, we can go ahead and make sure it is. So it doesn't look like it is right now. We'll go ahead and add that to get together. Actually, maybe we should just add that as a first order here. Let's start by ensuring that the content on the about page can be managed by TinaCMS. Okay. And I should have TinaCMS approved to integrate with localhost 3000. So then we have our portfolio with our full screen modal that you can toggle through. We have our services page, which will showcase what they do and for who. And again, we'll need to update that link to take to the onboarding form. And then we have our party kits that will be pre-packaged bundles for any number of types of event types. So engagement parties, showers, bridal and baby showers, and any number of non-wedding events for now. So the site came together pretty great. This is running a little bit slow locally. I just want to note that, and that's because this is in dev mode and it's building at every step and change. So today, let's go ahead and just start with some of these final elements to preparing the site for production, okay? And one of the ways I want to start is by pulling in the images that we have for the site and optimizing them for the web so they can load really fast. So we're going to get into the Just Lovely events directory, and we'll make sure it's open so we can add files there. And I've got this little script that I've built locally that allows me to convert photos into images optimized for the web so that they load really quickly. So it's going to pull images from this directory. I just added them over. This was the directory of their portfolio images. And I think you'll remember last time when we opened them all up, they were heavy and slow, even on my local machine. So we're going to run this script that formats the images as AVIF images, PNG. AVIF will be the fastest loading image. And let's do JPEGs as well. And I don't know if actually I support if it's JPG or JPEG as the argument, but we'll find out really quickly. So what it's going to do is go through every image in that folder and then convert it into an optimized image that we can then open up and import into our static file directory here. And I probably should have done the same thing for the logo, but there might be some Next utilities that do that for me. So we have a public directory here, which is where we will add our images. It's going to take a second. Yeah, so I called it JPEG. I should have called it JPG. And that's okay. So let's see. So it added the Tina collection for the About page. It updated the config. Let's go ahead and look at those changes real quick. There we go. Here's the about content, so it's typed all of the values that are expected. I don't understand why that bash script is, so now it's extracted the content and moved it into a file. TinaCMS ends up using GitHub as its primary data, or Git as its primary data store. So since we have a GitHub repository and they're not going to need more than 2 users to be managing the site, this ends up being a free solution that scales pretty well. So this is meant to be budget friendly in our implementation. So it updated the about page to ensure that the values are driven by the content management system, and it seems to want to CD and build to see the outcome. Let's go ahead and let it do it. I think I'll have to restart my server if we do, but that's okay. But as a next step, let's give it access to the web tool here. Please help me configure TinaCMS integration so that I have all the environment variables set that allow for custom content changes. Okay, so that's queued up. So after it finishes this task, that will be the next message that it gets automatically. Again, this is running relatively slow. Excuse me for one moment. All right, I'm back. Sneeze break. Okay. So hopefully it asks for, and I'm going to log in to Tina on another window so I can get the keys that I need. Okay. So one of the benefits of TinaCMS is if you're a developer, you already have a GitHub account, and if you're following along and doing any of the same implementation that I'm doing here, you'll have your own, it'll authenticate using your GitHub account. So you can have confidence that it's pretty secure, which is great. Okay. Let's see what it wants to do here. So I'm going to update the Tina configuration to read environment variables and add an env example and env local with the required variables so you can plug in your credentials. Then I'll run a quick lint to ensure no issues. So it looks like, okay, it's going to update my environment. Public branch, Tina token, and then, okay, I'm okay with this script. So basically that script is going to create the structure I need so that my environment has the values it needs. Okay, so all of the files have been optimized. Let's go ahead and move those over and double check that they look the way we expect. So here's the images. We're going to go to the output directory. I think we'll do the AVIF images, and you can see they're 106 kilobytes. So those images we reviewed the other day, you'll see that they hopefully load a lot faster, and they should be at a similar quality. I had them at an 85% quality. But yeah, these are all looking good. Nothing's borked. Some of them are rotated. Actually, a lot of them are rotated that in a way that we need to fix. But I can do that here, I believe. And I'm trying to remember how to do that. Okay, I can't edit. Let's see how the PNGs turned out, if there's a huge size difference. It looks like the PNGs didn't get created. Our JPEGs did. And their orientation, we should be able to. Okay. I'll need to fix that script. Oh man. Okay. Let's use the, okay, it's saving them. That's great. So the JPEGs end up being 5 times bigger than the AVIF images. Not ideal, but we're working fast here. Okay, so I wired up Tina to read environment variables, the public client ID, the public branch, the token, added an env example. So let's go ahead and look at what that env example is. It should be at the root. There it is. So and fill these with your Tina Cloud. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'll need to update these same values in Vercel when we publish this to make it go live. So something to note. So let me pull this to another screen really quick and go ahead and see if on my env local, so the main branch is going to be the branch that we got my client ID here. And wonder where my token is. There's my token. And I've got my Tina token here. So close that. Production. There we go. I'll use that. That looks great. So one of the things I wanted to do today, once we got Tina set up, and if this goes pretty fast, that's wonderful. I think it asks me to restart my dev server, which I will. I'm going to source env local. Excuse me 1 sec. Okay, we're back. So let's source our local environment. Oh, well, I just showed my client ID. I'll have to change that. I'm getting a I believe I just need to, here, I'll pull this out for a second. And get my environment set up. And then I'll clear my terminal, which I did in like the least elegant way possible. And let's see if that works now. See, data layers are. So TinaCMS dev server is active. And let's go ahead and visit the admin. And this will be my first time using TinaCMS. So one of the great things about this is I think it's a fairly low complexity tool as far as CMSs go, and is meant to be a simple and easy way to make edits to your Next.js site, which is a static site. So you're going to get the benefits of like a fast performing web optimized experience, but all the pages are going to be rendered at build time. What does that mean? The content gets created as HTML and stored on the server so that there's not really any processing time happening. So this ends up being cheaper to host and really a fast user experience. And the upside is a lot of flexibility, to be honest, because every page can have its own custom configuration, and it seems like Tina just builds it. Codex had a really clear idea of how to set it up, and so seems to Cursor plus GPT-5, which I'm assuming are the same thing. So overall, I'm really happy with the experience integrating TinaCMS, and I think we're going to have some good experience here. So we'll probably have some bugs as we just work through any new integration, but the logs will show us where things are breaking. It looks like we have so we have a runtime error. And let's just copy this over. I might need to I've updated the environment bulls and am getting this error on the admin. We can try to read through it to understand what's going on, which is probably important. We'll see if there's anything in the console, and it looks like there is. The CMS prop must be an instance of TinaCMS. So this is a fairly I'm not exactly sure what this means, other than it sounds like the Tina library isn't being loaded as one would expect. Let's see here. So the CMS prop, so the property being passed to React component needs to be a TinaCMS instance, which means a connection to TinaCMS, or a configuration or an object returned by that connection. So we'll see what it gives us here. One of the things I'm really excited while this is building, let me show you one of the things we worked on. This is going to be a little bit slow, but I wanted to test the capabilities of GPT-5, and I use thinking mode. If you're a pro subscriber, you get regular 5, you get thinking and pro, and man, GPT-5 has been getting a lot of shade, and I'm not sure why yet. It's in my I'll put my usage up against anybody's. I've put since its release, and we're getting free credits on Cursor right now. I've used $150 worth of GPT-5 credits, and compared with Cursor, I'm really happy with the outcomes. The most of my work has been on a more complex app that I'll show at a certain point that leverages AI and photos to help customers or help homeowners maintain and manage their home more effectively. And there's a complex marketplace, there's like 100 data models, and it's a fairly complex app that would take a while for any new engineer to support. And to be honest, it's beyond the scope of what most single engineers could probably handle. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but large complex systems usually are better wrangled by a team, and this is solo coded, and I'm really excited about it. Something like 500,000 lines, 1,000 tests. So it's a fairly robust application with a network of stakeholders different user types with different expectations and perspectives, and it's been really helpful. It's been really good at helping me get to navigate the code base to identify what changes need to be made, and then it tends to make minimal changes that respect the existing site. Where Cursor at times, in the pursuit of an objective, will get really fixated on the objective and sort of throw the baby out with the bathwater at times. So I ask GPT-5 to help me come up with an animation on a canvas that I can use for the thank you page here. And we took the logo flower and another flower that Melinda and McKenna really liked, and we added balloons with confetti. This is exactly what I was hoping for, and it just sort of works. So we're going to embed this on the thank you page, and ideally as a background, so I can put a picture of McKenna and or Melinda in the background, or this, and put this in the background, something cheeky like a thumbs up or a smile. I want to give a personality to the brand and the team, and introduce customers to the service providers. So when a new event is submitted and requested, this is what will be shown on the thank you page. But GPT-5 coded that up in 2 messages. The first one worked seamlessly, and then it asked me for my color palette, and I gave it an image of the color palette, and it interpreted that and then did exactly as I asked with some minor tweaks. Then I copied this outcome and put it in Cursor, and Cursor had no problem. Codex had no problem taking that code snippet and integrating it into the app. Now I'm basically misaligned on where the animation should run. Right now it's running as a background on the thank you page when it needs to be the background for a card. So that's one of the things we'll work on together here next, as soon as this is working. Okay, that happens. So this, I gave the error. Excuse me, sorry. Not fun to speak into the ether when I don't have any, when my voice is hurting and when I'm a little sniffly. So thanks for being patient with me, and I hope this is a good chance to learn. Also, if anybody doesn't mind leaving a comment at some point letting me know how music can or should work, I think it would be really fun to have a collaborative playlist that we work with together. So anyway, just a kind of thought. It would be fun to be live streaming some music in the background at the very least. Okay. So scanning the admin page component, Tina provider usage to allow with Tina's. There we go. So it was a way that we were passing the configuration into Tina. So I got to restart the server, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it just works. And that would be pretty impressive, because it would be, now we'd be able to edit content and see live changes on the site. I'm also interested to see how Tina interprets changes made on the local host. Actually, okay, it looks like it's compiled and running, and hopefully it gives me the option to log in. Okay, got another error. Let's give it access to the web so it can search for the error. Looks like progress. Now getting this error. This is very much a vibe coding approach, because we're just passing the errors back and forth, and I'm not doing a whole lot of research into figuring out what's wrong. One way I could make this better, so this is a type error, and that means that one of the values that it expects is not there. And so that's probably an issue in my configuration. Let's go ahead and optimize the logo too. Let's see if my other window is open. It's not. We'll parallel track some things like we have on other days. Okay. So input is going to be here. And let's call it just lovely portfolio 1. Actually, I think we're probably to a place where we can start to think about integrating Go high level too, but I don't want to get too much going in parallel. I have this tendency to make my life more challenging by trying to manage multiple work streams in parallel at once, which is certainly possible now. The site in my computer seems to have frozen. Even my computer can't handle this many parallel tracks. Okay. I wonder why it made that change. Don't know if I like this. And I didn't commit. I don't know why it made that change. So let's go ahead and open up and create a folder for the logo. The input folder needs to be logos or images, and then I have just two that I need. And there should be a logo mark. And I have a vector. There we go, logo mark. Okay, so this should go much faster. So it looks like it identified that the provider for the admin page wasn't set up correctly. And we'll see if this fixes it, although it has not made any code changes yet. Okay, those photos were optimized. And we'll pull a couple of formats over from the output. I'll rename them. Okay. Okay, let's rename. Looks like we're getting another runtime error. So as soon as I have these images 24 kilobytes on that logo size. That's pretty good. I think the logo they went with looks great. Shout out McKenna and Melinda for having the courage to stand up to my grumpiness when I was trying to get this done fast. So I'm really grateful that they stuck to their guns with what they wanted. Okay, so now it's coming through as null. Doesn't look. So the message said it's not called just Tina anymore, it's called Tina Provider because it's marked as deprecated. Okay, it looks like. What does it expect? Alright, it looks like the declarations are wrong now because don't understand why the errors have to do with CSS styling, unless that has to do with the live preview behavior in Tina, which is possible. Again, I'm new to Tina. So while this is working, let's go ahead and update our header to point at our logo. I think lovely logo. What do we call it? Oh, it's in logos. Let's get rid of this optimized name. Not Avis. Avif. Shout out Avis. All right, let's see if that works. This will be the first time we get to see the logo. All right, what changes did it make? saying no longer hopefully I got the static path right on the site header. And once I do, I don't want to give it a width property. That is not my favorite thing because it's sort of an automatically it wants to handle that at build. It's going to give me a warning about, yeah. It's probably going to be too large here, but that's okay. All right. And what is the directory? Assets, logos. There we go. Doesn't that look lovely? And let's say let's do an H. Don't exactly know what the multiple is. About 20 pixels. That's right. My bad. Class name in React. There we go. Well, isn't that lovely? Isn't she lovely? Okay. And we'll want to update that to make it more collapsible. It keeps wanting to add let's help it along here because it keeps re-adding deprecated, and I need to probably give it web search capabilities to make sure it's pulling updated documentation. Okay, that new logo looks good, and I'll add it to the footer as well. Let's go footer, site footer, and there's the title. What's it look like here? I think we replace maybe right above. Let's replace Stay Lovely. See if it auto-completes. It does. Fantastico. You can maybe even make it slightly bigger. So it did search the web even though I didn't give it the tool. That's kind of cool. Love that lovely logo. Boy, oh boy, this computer's running slow. There it is again. How clean is that? Do we want one inbox or not? I guess we probably should for now have just one inbox. Hello, just lovely. And I'm gonna selfishly give myself a backlink here. Made with love in Phoenix by Cloud Elephants. Yep, kind of just knew I wanted it to open a new window. That's pretty slick. Sometimes when these tedious things take a little longer, the live stream's not as fun, but this is a part of it. So we got our logos in. Let's go ahead and go sneeze. Thought I had to sneeze there. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the portfolio docs and go ahead and do the next step. So while this is trying to resolve, let's see if the admin works now. Use a TinaCMS provider. Okay, so that's okay. Let's see if it did that. CMS provider is deprecated. Is my computer just running super slow? Let's install the latest as it asks. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in to, it was, before it was lovely events, it was tailored events. And let's do something that I think is kind of fun. So I've been working on some artwork that we can use throughout the site too. That's probably something I should pull in. We'll save that for another time. But this is a pretty cool feature that oops, this is not the one I was looking for. I'm gonna ask, because it has a fairly clear sense of who the brand is in the context of this chat message. I'm gonna tell it to, and I kind of am liking this thinking level model. And let's just, I don't think it needs any tools here. Can you please create a brand voice guide that I can use in the context of portfolio of content making with an LLM. Your brand voice should provide guidelines about how to express the brand position, value, props, services, and products, as well as the voice and tone, the brand. So the brand, So Just Lovely can maintain a consistent voice in marketing materials. Okay, so I'm going to ask GPT-5 to create a brand voice guide. I'm going to take this brand voice guide and start to provide it with images and the instructions to create portfolio content so that we can start to present this information on the web, leveraging the CMS ultimately, but I'll also give it the format of the front matter of the page. So we should get pretty detailed and effective descriptions of a photo with limited context as an input. As we get these things dialed in, then we can use tools like N8N to automate this. So here's a go high level form or even a web admin form for McKenna and Melinda. When you finish a project, upload your favorite photos from that project and then use N8N to review those photos with a specialized prompt and a specialized voice so that it just automatically creates your marketing content. And this can be any platform. We can have it, we can create instructions that would say, as an output, give me 3 Instagram posts ideas, give me 2 tweets, give me 1 email marketing blog, give me 1 YouTube script, right? You could have it create the foundational content and research based on your brand voice, and once you have a consistent prompt that articulates the sort of way you want to present yourself online, you'll get better results in the outputs. So, I mean, this is great. This signals simple language, warm, calm, step-by-step, no hype. It's going a little slow. Got a lot going on here. Let's just overwhelm it a bit. I'll create a second parallel chat and I'll add the thank you page. The Alanis Morissette song just came into my mind. Should start singing it. Thank you, ba-ba-dum. Thank you, ba-ba-dum. Okay. Please ensure that the thank you page displays the animation in as the background for a card displayed below the title thank you card. At present, it replaces the background of the page and is hidden when I just want it to be contained to a canvas inside a card. Let's see how it handles that. Okay, so we've updated our dependencies. Okay, let's see if it runs, although there's some errors that are giving me some concern. I guess warnings more than errors. And then, okay, so we've got our, this is fairly comprehensive. I'll probably want a summary of this. But this is actually pretty great. This is great. This is actually really comprehensive and good. Yeah, this is great. I'm really happy with that. I'm happy with it because it's comprehensive in its brand voice guide, and it shows it gives some useful rules for implementation across different contexts. So I can take this, although it's long and will probably chew through a lot of tokens, this could be an effective system prompt for an agent, a marketing agent that I use over and over. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if the TinaAdmin renders. We're gonna keep pushing the limits of my computer here. I see in another Next.js app, I have an admin that managed prompts, so okay, this is great. I think because I'm paying for the Pro, oh man, I would actually want to add this as a brand voice here, but let's go ahead. Act as a web copywriter. Here is the brand voice. Okay. Again, fairly comprehensive. In this conversation, I'd like you to review images from my portfolio and produce so that we can produce compelling portfolio content for my website. And it's always good to give an example output. Here is an example output, and I'll take the front matter for the portfolio. Okay, let's see what we got here. This is the thank you page. Okay, it gives me options on if we want the animation to be full screen or contained. This is great. It resizes, again, great. And then it handles those rules here and returns the canvas. Now I should expect to see some things in lovely, and it did a brand card, a white one, fantastic. I'm gonna probably want to add some padding here. And the thing I came over here to grab specifically was portfolio content example. Content, portfolio. Let's see one I like. Yes, okay. Consider only the format as I'd like the content to be more aligned to my voice, and in particular, playful and fun. One of the brand values is fun because we're creating parties for people. Acknowledge you understand your instructions, and I will proceed to share images. Okay, let me oh, it looks like I hid my video and kept my audio on. Sorry, everybody. Or anybody. Sorry, people, if you are there. Again, I don't have chat working today, so I'll follow up on questions or comments if there are any in tomorrow's stream. Okay, so let's check the two things that got done. So we're waiting for the admin to render. We can check the thank you page in the interim. We'll just really push the limits of the computer here. I'm gonna have two windows open at once. Okay, so the AI acknowledges the instructions, and I will go ahead and open up my just lovely images. Okay, so we're getting an invalid setup from Tina here. Still haven't rendered on the thank you page. This little Tina thing is kind of getting frustrating. But that's, I haven't put in a ton of effort here, and this is my first time doing it. We'll jump back to that chat and try to work in parallel. I'm just going to give it the error. You deal with it. There we go. Let's see. Did we get our animation? Yay! Thank you. I love it. Oh, that's so fun. That is so fun. That's great. I think that's going to be fantastic. So when a customer submits a form, they'll be met with, and where's my thank you page? With that lovely animation. And I don't want, we should see the exploding confetti, and we have the logo flowers. And I think it follows the mouse, if I'm not mistaken, very slowly. So my computer's running slow, this animation's running slow. There's probably some things I can do to optimize it. But I think that's fun and playful and unique. Yeah, you'll see the balloons are now over here. Let's see if I go over here if they start moving that way. The flowers should move this way too. Oh, that's cool. They like the pink, so let's go ahead and make the card pink. All right, what's going on? That doesn't look right to me. Okay, we're still wrestling with the Tina setup. So while that works in parallel, let's go ahead and create descriptions for each image. And one way to do that, I think I closed the window here. And we'll go open. So slow, so slow. Okay. I'm sure it's really fun to watch a website move really slow. Okay, so we got public, and we're going to go into assets, images, and we'll convert these to icons so that, all right, let's start with this one. And I believe that was a bridal shower. Okay, so I gave it very limited context. You should hopefully come back with a description of the image in the format, tone, and based on the content I want. And then I'll need to update the image directory just so it's presented correctly across the different site. Okay, so this is looking more elegant, which is a word from last week's The Way of Code. And it's re-rendering already, so we'll just let it cook. And ideally, we have our portfolio content done. Pastel double arch bridal shower. Oh no, it crashed. Oh man, back to the old issue. We'll get there. I might have to search for it. Let's get a different perspective. How do I resolve this issue? And then I'm going to hand off my config. Where's my Tina config? Tina. Oops. Where are you, Mr. Perplexity? I'm perplexed. There shouldn't be any private keys in there, because we're using environment variables. So Perplexity, in this case, pretty good web search model. What I would do as a developer if I was encountering these types of issues would be to go search the web and look for answers that are specific to my error and then feed those back in. So this will hopefully review the configuration that I've got and come up with a result for me from the internet, because I'm sure I'm not the first person to experience that with Perplexity, or excuse me, with Tina. Okay, I've seen this exact content before. How to fix it? Okay. Okay, I don't think that's right though. The Tina shows it's deprecated. let's instructions based on ensuring it is future proof. Okay. Let's see if that helps nudge in the right direction. And we'll go ahead and copy this and go into our portfolio content. So this will be assets, images, and what do we call this image again? How slow can you go? All right. Can't even close. I hope that's not affecting the stream. Ooh, ooh. I might have to wrap up here because this is not working. My screen is going very slow. Okay, so we've got, that's the format I want. I'm going to rename this double arch bridal shower. Double arch bridal shower. Okay. And the image itself is named copy path. We just want the, oops, I didn't want to compress it. Well, we'll find out now. Where's that little window opening? All right. Don't love that it's deprecated. It's bothering me. Let's see. All right. If it works, we'll let it ride for now, but it's not ideal that it's a deprecated admin 500. I'll need to rebuild, it looks like. Okay, so the path isn't correct, but it's showing up here. And let's Let's now have it do the next one so we have more than one thing going at a time. Let's see if I can scale up here. School graduation, 6th grade. Where is the double arch? Let's go ahead. It's assets, images. Public assets, images, image 0 optimized. Wonder why. We'll get that sorted. See where it's making the request to, and then we can try to adjust the path. Source is empty. All right, let's see what happened on the admin. Hey, looks like it's rendering. So that's progress. Doesn't look like the styling's working, but that's okay. Images, image 0 optimized. What do we got here? Cannot convert null or undefined to an object. What do the other ones look like? Portfolio. Maybe it's different in its structure. Where's my content folder? Oop. Oh, it's there we go. There it is. Fantastic. Cool. So now let's go through and create the rest of these. And maybe my next one will be done. Oops, it should be in ChatGPT. Let's call this 6th grade graduation, and that is nested. That has 3 backticks, and it's assets, images, and then the name. I really should rename it. Okay. This is good progress we're making. It's a little tedious. Okay. 6th grade graduation. I believe it's JPG. Okay. Now let's do this one. We'll make sure it renders. In fact, we should be able to toggle through. There we go, there it is. And it's, oh wait, this is a baby shower. Oops. It's baby shower. I'll need to fix that. So how's my admin looking? Let's just try this again. So the styling is broken and it's giving a 500. Okay, let's see what's going on there. Give it some generic instructions. And I wonder if okay, I'm going to update. I'm going to break this one. All right, I'm getting extra sneezy and my voice is a little bit tired, so I might have to wrap up here soon. Let's go ahead and do the graduation, and I'll note I need to edit the Sage. Let's see if we can do this. And Peach Arch to be themed after a baby shower. Okay. So this assets, images, let's just take the name it gives us. And I'll update this one. Okay. Cool, just did it. And I'll update. So it looks like we're not going to get to go high level today, but that will come soon. A lot of this is going to be tedious, so I might take a little bit of this offline. But we've been able to accomplish, quite a bit so far. We've got that just lovely animation on the thank you page working. Let's see if it populates that. Now let's do the the pirate theme birthday? Yes. Shout out to my mom who did some really awesome work on that. She's an exceptionally creative human. This pirate birthday party. Okay, and then we'll get the next one going. Okay, let's see. I think I want the portfolio cards to be white. I don't need AI for this one, most likely. I believe the tone is... Actually, I gotta look at the other cards. Should be pretty straightforward. I think this is a really compelling site, and we'll let the images are getting a bit drowned out by the color here, so I'm going to want to just tweak the styling on these cards a bit, and hopefully the CSS builds looks like I'm getting I'm going to kick off a rebuild there. Pirate birthday. Okay, so where's my home page? And I have a brand card, tone yellow. Magenta, tone teal. I know I have white cards somewhere. garden party. So it looks like I've got a broken content. Let's try that again. It's pretty efficient to have. Here is so the format of that markdown wasn't correct, so the site didn't build. Okay, I want my running slow. Got a lot of that problem going on right now. So this is going to be a bunch of tedious updates, it seems like, from here on out. So I think what I'm going to do, because we won't get to setting up Go High Level today, we'll probably do that tomorrow on stream so I can walk you through step by step of that process. I'll wrap up some of these things locally. OBS is chewing up my machine memory, so I'm having a hard time getting things done very quickly at all. But we got the thank you page animation working. I showed how powerful GPT-5 was in composing that script. We kind of worked through some debugging with TinaCMS, and we're at a point now where it's functionally wired up. We got to get the styles working, and then we'll be able to log in and start editing content. We're doing that manually. I showed you how we can leverage ChatGPT to create a brand voice, and how we can leverage that brand voice in creating content of any number of types. If we're happy with the outputs we're getting from the content, and so far I am, we can then integrate that into N8N so that it's even faster and easier to create content across different processes, and I'll show you what that looks like, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and wrap up today's stream with verse 3 again, and I'll read it for you and bid you farewell until tomorrow. Once again, I'm Ryan with Cloud Elephants. We do fractional CTO services and can build your web presence however you need. We use Go High Level as a CRM to help you organize your customers. We'll set up an AI voice agent together for Just Lovely events so you can get an AI receptionist to answer your calls. We'll be integrating a self-service calendar so that your clients can schedule meetings with you, and in a way that works operationally well for your team. We can help you set up email campaigns and automated social media. We can do email and social media marketing, SEO services. That's one thing I didn't mention. All of that has been handled over the weekend with Codex. So I set up Google Analytics, I set up Facebook Pixel. We even started to scaffold out some of the Go High Level interactions for the Just Lovely website. So when we go live in the next couple days with the site, it's going to be ready for production and have all of the things needed to run this business and get new clients. Once the site's then set up and we're integrated with Go High Level, we'll move in short order to promoting the site using some AI forward marketing tools that help Just Lovely events start to get some of their first customers. And I'll look forward to giving all of you updates on the real progress of that business as it starts to grow. I'm really excited for what McKenna and Melinda are building. So let's read this verse together and look forward till tomorrow. Again, sorry for my voice and all the sniffles today, but hopefully this will pass quickly. If you praise the programmer, others become resentful. If you cling to possessions, others are tempted to steal. If you if you awaken envy, others suffer turmoil of heart. The vibe coder leads by emptying the mind of expectation and filling up the soul, by releasing ambition and embracing the unknown. Free from intellect, free from abstraction, the vibe coder leads all things back to natural self-sufficiency. Do by not doing, and there is nothing that cannot be done. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow.